Theodore Lukács, however, made one more contribution to the Chabraja story after his return to the old country. He sent his younger sister, Stana Lukács, to marry my grandfather in an arranged marriage. I think for those guys, getting a date was a tough deal. Had to send home. I am sure their married life was difficult. They endured anti-immigrant hostility, 2 world wars, the Korean conflict, and the Great Depression. But throughout, my grandfather had a job, provided for his family, and found comfort in his church, St. Sava, where he could also keep the culture of his birthplace alive. My grandparents were members of St. Sava from its inception in 1914, which incidentally was several years before the Serbian Orthodox diocese in America was formed, and initially headed on an interim basis by Bishop Margaret. Before 1919, this church and 18 other Serbian parish churches were under the auspices of the Russian Orthodox Church in America. On balance, Mila and Stana's marriage and life in America worked out reasonably well. They produced 6 children, 5 daughters and 1 son, my father, Nikola Chabraja. They celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary in Gary shortly before my grandfather's death in 1961. A kind and caring gentleman, he was mourned by his wife, his 6 children, 15 grandchildren, and many, many great-grandchildren, kumovi, and countless friends. In my view, he had a successful and fulfilling life. I'm not certain how he felt about it all. There was some mixed evidence. He, for example, never returned to his homeland. Got to see any of his Chabraja relatives we left behind, who did not do well during the Second World War. On the other hand, he never became a naturalized American citizen either. And I can tell you, I saw tears in his eyes every time my mother sang "Come with the Electric" for him. My father was born in 1915, just months after St. Sava Parish was founded. He was baptized there and served the church he loved all of his life, which was for all practical purposes coextensive with the life of the church. He twice served as president of the church council and chaired the committee that purchased the land upon which the new church now sits. As a young man, he had the good sense to marry Angeline Cernicroc, whose parents had immigrated to South Chicago from Liga. They had 3 sons, 7 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. They were married almost 60 years before my mother's death in 2001. My brothers, Ted and Mitch, and I were baptized at St. Sava, took our first Holy Communion there, attended church school. I was taught by Daisy Willetich, who I had the good fortune to see in church this morning. And we learned the richness of the Serbian Orthodox liturgy by serving on the altar. I was married in the old church, 13th in Connecticut, in 1964, and my first child, Michael, was baptized there early in 1968. As Christian life comes full circle from the Alpha to the Omega, my grandparents and my parents received the last rites of this church in beautiful Requiem services. In my view, the Serbian Orthodox Requiem liturgy is both beautiful and comforting. The choir hymns are sorrowful but rich with the theology of our faith and provide with great clarity the promise of life after death. In short, my family's history has been inextricably linked with this parish church and its people. My family has celebrated its happiest events and mourned its deepest losses with the people of this parish. The story I have told you, I think, is not unusual for our Serbian families who immigrated here at the turn of the 18th century and into the 19th. In many respects, I and others like me, the second generation born here, have achieved a level of success that would have been unimaginable to our grandparents. It would, however, I am sure, be a source of considerable pride for them. It would provide affirmation for difficult decisions they made. The decision to immigrate, the decision to remain and raise families, the decision to endure, as Serbs have always endured. It would also provide affirmation for their belief in their church and the way of their fathers. The people of this church suffered the loss of their sons in 2 world wars, the Korean conflict in Vietnam, and disproportionately so for their size in the Second World War and the Korean conflict, to which the war memorial to the north of the new church readily attests. They endured the Depression, labor strife, resentment, and the cyclical nature of industrial America. St. Sava provided solace and comfort, but also suffered with its people. I'm reminded of the loss by fire of the church 13th in Connecticut, the senseless beating of our priest in our very churchyard, and the unrest in the church that led to litigation between and amongst brothers. Just some of the church's travails in my time. Throughout this, St. Sava endured, even prospered, but above all remained true to its mission, to its people. It kept the faith with its people. Historically, the Serbian Orthodox Church has been a refuge for its people. It has been the guardian of our heritage. It has been a source of pride, the keeper of our culture. Throughout time, the church has stood as one with her people, and nowhere has that been more true than at St. Sava. In fact, I am very proud of what you have accomplished here, keeping our people together, building your new magnificent church, and more recently, a sign of enormous pride, retiring the mortgage. Throughout the United States, when I run into Serbian people, wherever gathered, they always ask me about Srpska gera. That's something to be enormously proud of. Thank you very much for welcoming me and providing me this opportunity for a son of your parish, a true son of your parish, to come home. May God bless you in your wonderful parish church.